Okay. Let's do a little sound test. Okay. Let's do a little sound
Test
test.
test. My balls hurt. My
Okay.
balls they hurt.
Let's do a little sound
Test
test.
test. My balls hurt. My
Okay.
balls.
Okay. It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect.
I'm so ready.
Okay, maybe we just chop some little shit up before we get into the meat and potatoes. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um. Right, our DMs are not safe. Okay. Okay. So,
Oh God,
let's
audience.
look at the menu here. Okay, we got some Smite. Man, you're just listing names.
I was thinking about this. I actually have a point on this. I have a point in my brain.
Okay, okay. Yeah, well,
So like
okay.
the point in my brain, right, is that when you refer to these teams, who actually knows like the names of the teams?
True. Okay, I see what you're
It's
saying.
like Wargs for Preds, maybe, right?
Yeah,
And Mambo for Johnny, but who actually knows the other team names? No one
actually,
says,
true, true,
oh, people even say like Just F6 or something, or Jousters, but they wouldn't say Tanuki.
Yeah, no, I think
Do you know what I
Ogi is
mean?
Tanuki, but yeah.
Yeah, I think I know Ogi's a Tanuki, but oh my god, the Olympus bolts. Everyone just says Jousters.
True. That's actually facts. Okay, I got it now. Okay, okay, I like this. Okay, this will be interesting.
Okay,
All right, do you want to start us off?
I'll do it. Let's go. So we're doing a little poddy, cheeky little poddy, and it's basically we're going through. There's an SEC combined with SOC bracket. Top two teams of the one SOC are going into two groups. One group will be Johnny, Ogie Bray's team, my team, and the Jousters, and the other team is the other group will be the Wargs, which is Preds' team, and then it's Echrom's team with Deathwalk on it. We have Marskill's team, and then the last one from that is I'm actually blanking. Wait, who is it?
Perhaps these words?
No, President.
Dan? Oh no.
Yeah, and the Dan team. That's the SSC team that's in there.
Yeah.
So we can kind of talk about each team, go through like each one, like what their strengths are, and then also like each group, like who do we think are gonna make it out, basically.
Yeah.
So we can do that. Do you want to take us down the list, Farron? Which team do you want to start with?
I think it makes sense for me to start off with your team, just so we get the bias out of the way,
Oh,
maybe.
really?
Yeah.
Okay. Bias out the way. Fucking the
uh,
worst team in it. Okay, what are your thoughts on my team? Actually, I'm kind of interested to hear. Well, you're
okay.
technically on it. You're technically the coach, right?
So, oh yeah, yeah, our team. Um, I just want to say that I think with the Briffa team, let me just go through the names. So we got Gegovsky in jungle, we got Big Briffa in support, we have Gods for Life ADC, Pretty Prime mid, and the Sexy Seagull in solo. So that sounds like a pretty up and coming roster. A lot of new, fresh talent on the rise, and you know, I hear they've been putting a lot of work in the rank scene recently.
That's
And
big.
I think you know they do have a lot of potential. They definitely maybe overall the youngest fucking team out there, so they're getting up. They're in the prime right now, and I think basically they well, so the good thing is they have a lot of potential. They can bring something fresh into the game, but the weakness,
What's the
okay,
weakness, Farron? What's the
well, the
downside to
weakness
this team?
is there's a list. Let me get the list. Let me get the
Weaknesses.
list.
Plural. Okay.
So I think there's a slight psychopath in jungle. Um, I think if okay, Bobby's playstyle or Gigovsky's playstyle is a bit of a 1v1. I feel like he just wants to get in there and dominate the enemy team as soon as possible. And in this meta, I don't think it's quite that easy. You can't just run in there and destroy everybody. And sometimes when I think you're trying to play for the late game, and the enemy team is trying to play for the early game, it gets a bit too much for him, and he just tells your team to just kill yourselves and rage quit scrims. But
Ooh,
apart from
ooh.
that, we got Seagull and Solo. He's known to die to ganks 3 times in a row, which is not
Yep,
good.
he is known for that.
So it's just some things to work by.
What
When
about
you
the support? What about the support? What's he known for?
oh okay, their support is a known well okay, let me get the list. Okay,
Get the list.
bro. Okay, their support is a known racist, xenophobe, pedophile.
Okay, okay, okay,
Um,
okay, 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 okay.
okay, no, apart from that,
Editor, editor, Royans, Royans.
yeah, okay, where's our manager? Okay, apart from that, I think Briffa has a lot of potential. He's obviously, I think some people forget, he's actually new to support role. He used to be a jungle
That is true.
main.
It's a
So
big
out of
point to
out of
raise.
the whole team, he's actually, he should probably be the worst, which I don't think is the case. But I think he's putting a lot of potential. I just think sometimes he might be a bit too eager, trying to force things when you probably shouldn't. Um, but apart from that, the calls are pretty good. The team overall is actually really good synergy because like I feel like Pretty Prime is the glue that holds these guys together. Like we got some psychopaths in side lanes. We got the sage wise man in the mid lane that just like puts them together. So I think it's a great combo. The synergy is great. Scrims are looking fabulous. Apart from that one rage quit.
Scrims have never looked fabulous, I'll be honest. They've always been turbo demonic.
Actually, since you're on the team, how about you like give me a little insight of what's going on?
You know that fucking that like that mute like Teenage Mutant Turtles like image of like the master and he's or like the
Oh
son
yeah.
and he's got like the four, yeah, that's Prime with us. Except we haven't grown up yet. We're
He's
trying to get there.
master split. That's
Yeah,
actually so good.
yeah.
That's actually so
But
good.
we're still little. That's what Prime is.
That's
Um
fair.
so if I'm being like unbiased, like the outside view on this one, right, is that like Prime obviously has a lot of experience, but um me, Seagull, Gegov, and Gods are like not really like we have like the least experience out of anyone, basically coming into this.
Mm, yeah.
That's like the realistic thing. Um, Especially, I mean, I have more than Seagull, Gegov, and Gods, but yeah, again, I had to roll swap and everything, right? The synergies are surprisingly good, for sure. Like the team play is like it's more based on team play rather than individual skill. Even though I think that like Gods and Primo have had like killer games, and so has Gegov, honestly. Um, I think an advantage we have is like flexibility. There's a lot of picks. Like I think especially with me and Seagull, with like mages coming into solo, Seagull was like on that very very early where people still wanted to play warriors, and like me with well Prime with like Poash and me with like more healer supports and stuff. I think going forward, like depending on what the meta is, that could be like a big advantage for us, or it could be like we go return to default and like a bit of a disadvantage. I mean, I feel like we can really go far. I think there's a lot of potential in the team. Um, but yeah, I mean, we are the newest ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I
You get me.
think
You get me, Fwam.
I think Seagull's also, maybe a little tired with the Warriors right now or the Mages right now. I think he's looking very forward to this next patch where Warriors might be back. Okay.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, who's the next one? And what's the next team that kind of like
I
piques your
think I think we
interest?
go through the dance team. I think it's right
Okay,
now.
okay, okay. So the Dan team is it's the SEC Outcasts.
Oh,
They're the seventh SEC team, right? If we're being
seventh.
honest. So you have like Sega Primo, not Primo, Sega Kraken, Dan, who have been like basically the best players in their role that are not SEC for the last like 2 years straight, basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they have Varus, who's also been in that conversation,
Definitely.
with Asti, who's like come back into the scene a bit. So like individual mechs are like very very good on this team. Like clearly, like Sega's got a very like clear understanding of his job in the lane. Same with Dan. Um, Same with Kraken. Same with Varus. Like, there's a lot of like mechanical potential in the team. Um, Again, they have always had like issues like breaking through. Even, I mean, it's hard because last year they went into this same tournament and did really well. Um, they beat like the bottom two SEC teams that they played against. So like they can definitely
Yeah.
beat these teams. And I think like this team going into like, the Maskill team won't actually be that close. I think they'll beat the Maskill team. You know?
Oh yeah. So in terms of brackets, it's gonna be Dan against Preds, Maskill, and what's
Yeah.
that third team?
Chrome.
Oh yeah,
So like, I mean, we can get onto the like Chrome team later. I think this team will start to get into issues against teams that do two things. Is either one is like have really strong like team play,
yeah. Mm.
which I think this is like more of a weakness on this team. They're very experienced. They know how to play the game, but like there's not like super coordinated, um, like drafts or strategies or whatever, or teams that just like outmech them. Um, I think that's probably going to be the bigger thing for this team. But this team like can like compete for sure against like the higher end teams or whatever. They could definitely make a run. I wouldn't be super surprised by it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the experience they.
They're also kind of coin flippy is the other thing. Like Kraken, Dan and Varus have like and Asti as well for sure have
Ooh.
potentials to like run games or they just int.
I could definitely see that. I think with the experience they have, I think sometimes they just maybe forget where they are and kind of just stop caring when something goes wrong in their games. I feel like it's quite easy to just get mad and start blaming other people. So I think if that team,
Yeah, there is a mental component to that team for sure,
I think if that team
and it
had some
comes from
cool
the mid
heads,
lane.
you know, I I think
Comes Daniel Raiden the demon from mid.
you know if if uh if he wasn't telling people to no I can't I
we,
can't I
don't, we
can't
don't get that. We don't get that.
okay
I'm
Ron's
Varus
got that
in
out.
the chat. He's asking, "What's your thoughts by Ishel?" This is an inside joke. We both desperately want to have sex with this fictional character. Um, that's big from Varus. That's huge from Varus.
Oh my gosh, thanks so much info for the prime
Okay.
20.
Um, I think I want to leave Jousters and the Maskell team till last. So, what team do you want to get into next?
So you want to leave until last, so let's do Preds.
The Preds team.
Yeah.
Okay. The Preds team's been actually through like a lot of roster changes this year, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think
Yes.
that's like, I mean, this has been the team in Europe that basically outthinks you, right? In terms of like their map play, like the kind of drafts they go for, like Preds with like these, um, not unique, but like having more flexibility and support, and especially the duo lane is like really core to this team.
Yeah,
So they
definitely
play like different
hard dual lane.
styles, different comps. They're more willing to experiment. Um, and I think that that's like the strength, and I think that's the strength of the team. Like if they get into like really broken comps that they find for other people, like let's say it's like Hell support is like just broken, and Preds gets to run it, and other teams don't respect it. Like they could just beat everyone, you know.
Yeah.
Generally, their team play is like the best. Um, and if they have like clear plans on how they want to execute a game, this team's like really dangerous. I think that losing Rapio and jungle is big.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely one of well, their best player at the time.
yeah, like Rapio is just an insane player, right? And I think losing Connor and solo is also massive.
I mean, that team fell from greatness. Let's just say that much.
I mean, I still think they're a good team. I still think they're threatening, and the duo lane has always been like the core part of that team. But I don't think you can look at like
You,
losing like Rapio and Connor.
you can't compare them to what they were,
Yeah, you can't really get upgrades. Like, I mean, aside from Johnny, you can't get upgrades in those roles in this region. You know. Um.
Um,
So I think that they are worse in that way. I do think Gunter's better than Hawk though. So I think even though like they've had like back and forth switches in mid. I think Gunter is an upgrade, but especially on like the
Definitely.
solo side of the map, I think this team can be in trouble.
Thing is, right, Preds is like that nerd in school that gets no bitches and just does
His
all.
fit is mid.
Yeah, he waits like 5 hours on Valorant for fucking his ego.
So he might see a toenail by the end of it. Oh god,
Thing is, right,
Preds is an
that's what he does.
absolute
Like Preds
dog,
just
mate.
will study you out and try and find every weakness you have, which is
Yeah, yeah,
definitely something that's rare in the Smite scene. I think not many people really do that, like study other teams and like try to find that type of weakness unless you're an SPL level, which is something I think not just Preds. I think Davey's also something to do that as well. So I think they have a huge.
I think Davies huge. Like I think like listening to their comms, seeing like how they play the game,
How they think
like
about the game.
how
Yeah,
big Davy is in comms is crazy.
yeah, Davey
I
definitely a
don't know
big
like
proponent.
any other ADC that's doing that really. Well, I mean like in SPL, I think Cyclone does it a lot. But normally you don't think of like ADC as like a shot caller, you know,
Yeah,
or like
exactly.
having like really like influential comms in most teams. But I think it helps that team like so much for sure.
I think that team's strength is Preds, but also I think his weakness could be Preds because I think
Yeah,
if the game is not going how he wants it, honestly, I've heard rumors that he just shuts down and deafens the whole game, which is maybe not what you want it in your support role, which is like maybe the most communicative, demanding role.
yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, I think
I mean, I think the reality is this team is really good. We kind of expect this team to make it to top four and maybe to qualify through, right,
yeah, I
to world's
definitely
qualies.
I
That's the kind of
think
expectation. But I think again,
yeah.
like there's, I mean, I've actually really liked Turtle on these facilitator picks. I think it's not really a hyper carry jungle meta. You're not really seeing like these mercs owls run around anymore. It's a lot more of like Erlangs, Najars, Akets are coming in. And I think that that's great for Turtle. And I think when he's playing that style, he's really good. But I think that like going up against other teams, like particularly the Johnny team, right, and then also maybe at LAN, like that the solo side could be a problem. I have
Yeah,
like full faith in
yeah.
their duo. I think their duo is going to be like pretty rock solid, honestly.
In terms, I guess we can just finish off that bracket. So it's
The
only Ecrom left in that bracket before we can talk about
yeah, what are your
other
thoughts on this one?
teams. So obviously, Ecrom was known to be, possibly the
Yeah, yeah.
best ADC in EU. Just pretty much clears. Right now, it's a bit of a question mark. He hasn't been playing as much, doesn't stream. He hasn't been putting in the hours like he used to. So a lot of people thinking he might be a little washed. So we'll have
Mm.
to see because I think Ecrom can still clear basically every DC in EU still.
Yeah, especially with Coast gone, right?
Yeah, I think he still has the potential. He's just crazy with that. His support I think is Ice Silence now.
Yeah, so I silenced.
Yeah, I mean Ice Silence. He's putting the grind still. He's been streaming every day. I think Ice Silence will be someone to be feared. Definitely known to camp Ikram and just give him the big lead. Apart from the Preds team, I'd say this team is probably another like hard duo, hard duo team. And in the mid lane, it's not Zeros. It's wait, who's their mid?
It is Zeros.
Is it?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, I have not seen
Zeros, April,
Zeros.
Deathwalker.
Okay, wow, I've not seen Zeros in a hot minute. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
literally.
Zero's always been that guy to like. I've heard him described as the guy to not hard win a game, but not hard lose a game either. He's very
Hmm.
consistent in the mid lane. Just doing what he can to play as like
Yeah, yeah.
play as good as possible. And in jungle, we got April, which is I guess they're
It's the
newer.
question mark of the team, right?
Yeah, some could say he's the newest player.
Just rip him. He's dog shit. Dead
April's
silence. Dead silence.
April, April's definitely the question mark because he was on the OE bogies, which we'll talk about in a bit. But
He's live right now. We can just rip him. He won't see
oh
us.
he won't. Okay, yeah, no. Honestly, April's is terrible. I mean, he just
He's just an
not good.
embarrassment. It's just a disgrace. Like,
Yeah, I think April. He's a good wide god pool. He's Oh, his comms. I've heard of his comms before. His comms are really good, to be honest.
Yeah, I actually like his comms.
He thinks about the game a lot when he's playing. I just think sometimes he can also be the type of player to maybe do some tilt plays, maybe look at some 1v1s that just aren't the best. And he can definitely run a game down hard.
Oh yeah, yeah. There was
Yeah.
one game he's like 1-8 or something, which is actually against the Ogie Bogey team. He was like 1-8 or 1-9.
Oh yeah, no, it was disgusting, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But their solo is
The big
DW
man.
Death Walker, the suit and tie.
Yo,
I
I actually have
mean,
a hot take on this. I was thinking about
okay.
it because everyone says it's the goat of solo is Benji. I actually think it's Deathwalker.
Thing is, right? Deathwalker walked so these solo lanes could run. He paved the way for sure. I think
Yeah, yeah.
Deathwalker. If you think about trying any god, any build, he's already done it. He's already been there. It's just like, I mean, what can Deathwalker not play? He's just so versatile, and
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like with these mages coming into solo and like maybe Guardians coming back and stuff as well. Like Deathwalker's probably the best suited solo for that shit, right? He's pulling out Ares in like Worlds Finals and solo. Like you're not gonna like
yeah.
throw a curveball like, oh, it's off meta, like it's a different meta. Deathwalker can't play it. That's never ever gonna happen.
I mean, you gotta be basically scared of anything. You can never ban this guy out. You can never counter bans. So I think
Yeah,
their side lanes have huge hard carry potential.
crazy, crazy potential.
So I think especially with this warrior meta come back, then Deathwalker might just that team. I think could have a strong potential to beat the Preds team. So
I Yeah, yeah.
I guess I just want to wrap up that bracket and just talk about I guess our predictions. So
I mean, like the only thing I would say on that team
yeah,
is I think that's the motivation team. Is that like you said, basically, if you think about it, Chrome, um, Chrome, Jake, and Deathwalker, like if they've all had like motivation issues in the past. Well, not Chrome, but like he's less motivated now. He's got like IRL stuff going or something going on, right? And like when those players are dedicated, they're like arguably, if maybe not even arguably, the best players in those positions in those roles, right?
yeah,
That's the best.
definitely,
That's probably the best duo if they're both like on point. And Deathwalker is clear the best solo if he's really caring about the game.
100.
So it's like, what team are you gonna get when these guys show up, right? Because we've also seen like Deathwalker just not care about the game for half the year, and Jake also has like some stuff where sometimes he's just kind of just shit posting around. It's like it's obvious he's not like super try harding. If they are try harding, and like Zero is just like a very stable player, this team is super dangerous. I think like they could beat everyone. Like it's not unrealistic. I think
Oh yeah,
I think you see, especially with like April being the question mark, if both side lanes are like performing, like they're doing really well, and Zeros is just like holding it down in mid, I think that makes it so easy for April, right? Because
it should
jungle is so much
theoretically.
easier to play if your lanes are doing well, right? If they're all losing, then jungle's a misery. And when he's already like kind of the question mark player on that team,
It's
you
really
know,
just all on him at the end of the day. I feel like so.
yeah, it's all on April basically. And if he doesn't carry them, he needs to. Never mind. Okay.
Cut that. Cut that. I have a question. From Infra actually. He was
Oh,
asking, can you be the goat without winning
without
worlds?
winning worlds. I mean, it depends if you're talking GOAT of all time. No. In position, like maybe, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I think Deathwalk is in a convo, right? He hasn't won
Yeah,
worlds, correct? And
yeah, yeah,
he's definitely been considered a solo goat.
yeah, for sure. I think the other one is like who's your GOAT ADC,
Yeah,
because the conversation is really Zapman, Panda, Cyclone Spin, and
yeah,
Zap has
definitely.
won worlds more than
Any of them.
any of them. But like I feel like especially like Cyclone at his peak and Panda when he was on form, I think everyone would say they were just better players than him.
Definitely.
So it's kind of like what you value. I think if it's just like overall in the game, like no. And the goat of Smite is Paul, by the way. He's won it twice and been to like every World's Finals for like the last 4 or 5 years. So
Yeah, Paul's got that dog on him for sure.
Paul's just a different breed, man.
Also, another note on that Zapman is thing about Zapman is people see his like lane phase mechanics and just call him terrible compared to him to those other two players. But also Zapman has like a huge quality that teams actually pick him up for, which is his comms, which is
Yeah, yeah.
which blows any other
The
ADC.
intangibles are really big with Zap for sure.
Yeah, which is gives him that value and the reason, like another big reason why he's been winning these worlds. But
For sure.
so in terms of this bracket, so we have the Echrome team, the Preds team, and the Dans team in in a bracket to see who comes up as is it the top two? Was this
Yeah, it's top 2 from that will qualify to
okay?
the top 4.
Okay. So basically, I'm predicting.
Yeah, what's the prediction? Just rip it off. What's the prediction out of that group?
I mean, I think realistically, Echrome and Preds team just come out as top
Yeah, I
because
think that's the standard prediction for sure.
I think some of
We actually didn't talk about the Moscow team.
no, but oh wait, is that in the bracket?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh wait,
I
it
wanted
is,
to I
it
wanted to
is,
leave
it
them to last. I
is.
mean, the
Oh,
Jousters, which we'll get on into a bit, and the Moscow team are they have issues that are like pretty clear. I think that
thing is,
I think
Maskill.
I think I think for this the Moscow team that team was really Maskell and Rotwin like running games, and that's how they would win. And they
Yeah,
haven't ever really recovered from Rotwin leaving. And I think
definitely.
Maskell, I hear bits and bobs. I think he's got like IRL stuff going on, like IRL competitions, which is like good for him or whatever. I hope
Okay.
he's doing well in them. But um, I think that Smite isn't like the number one priority. I might be wrong in that. I mean, I'm not like close to him or anything.
Yeah.
So I think again, like there's some like maybe motivation issues like with this team. I like how well Jenny's been playing. I like Lesty. I rate Lesty as a player, and I like ACD as well. I think they're good players. Um, I think like, and again, like no disrespect to Baku, but I think there's a pretty big difference between Baku and some of these supports like Eye Silenced if he's playing properly, Preds, Dutcher, like these like big supports, Kozi, like without BMing, I think there's a pretty big difference between those kind of players.
Yeah, I
And
think it
so
just in terms of
yeah,
experience.
when your team identity was based on jungle support running games, um, I I don't think that Baku can run games against Preds. You know what I mean?
Well, we will have to see because I
We will
think
have to see. Maybe he's the goat. Maybe he just destroys them all. I'd be so hyped to see that shit.
thing about the Spanish teams is we don't really know like what the comms are like.
True.
Baku could be hard carrying the comms, and we just don't know because
They
first of all
do
we
have the
never heard
Spain
about
buff.
it.
They come in 2 times speed.
Yeah, that's true. Two times speed is okay.
Hmm.
But the thing is, like, first of all, I just gotta say, ACD is the goat. I've always claimed him to be a really underrated ADC when
Yeah,
he's
I
in
rate I
solo
rate
in
AC.
SOC, and now he's made it. Congratulations to him again. I think with the Spanish team, obviously, I'd say with the dual lane, which don't have as much comp experience as the other SEC players, is definitely in a time where
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
pretty much dual lane meta.
yeah. It's been duo meta for a lot of this year for sure. Yeah,
Could be, could mean they're definitely going to be weaker. But again, they're against another SOC team, so in terms of
that's true. I
in terms
think
of
I
the other
think
roles, I don't know.
the issue for me, they are against another SOC team. I do just think that SOC team has a better duo.
Oh, you're saying Krakito and Asti are
I
better
think,
duo.
yeah, just pound for pound, they're a significantly better duo lane.
That's
And
fair.
that's no disrespect. I just rate Asti and Kraken highly. They
I
have an
think.
int factor on them, both of them, both of those players. They could run it
Mm,
down.
that's the thing about
Um,
ACD actually. I think he's the one of the most consistent players. Like
yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like he can never int again.
I mean, to be fair to them, the Spain team, when they do well, is really when they're all like synergized. Actually, their team play is pretty good.
Their team
We
play
saw
is
yeah,
actually
we
very
saw we
surprisingly good.
saw them have a lot of success with the like 4 global comps. They were running like Rat, Yanis,
Mm,
Athena, Bog, and that allowed them to basically team play all the time. And when they were given those comps, they actually looked very dangerous. Um, Without that comp, they don't look anywhere near as dangerous. if they can find ways to like play around duo as like 4 people, Giannis is still like a good pick, I think. But it won't be like top pick, top ban, so it can slip through. Might actually do a lot for this team, and I think Lesty holds the line really well. So like they
Yeah,
have potential. I think that there's a lot of competition in this group.
definitely. I think I think you need Zany on to like a kind of a hard carry mage, or else I feel
Yeah,
like he's just not gonna do as much.
yeah.
But I've also been hearing, I hear a lot of disrespect on Masco. Just because people label
He's
them
missed
as
the
that.
SEC.
I mean, some people label them as the SEC group that shouldn't be there, to be honest. But
Haters.
I think recently, especially Maskill, has proven a lot of people wrong. I feel like he's been just playing actually really well. I think that team is not a scrim team, but it's a actual
Yeah,
game day team, and I think
I
they
feel
might
like
surprise
that's been like a
people.
Spain like classic. No, they're just game
Yeah,
day monsters. Yeah,
definitely.
I mean
I,
Marskill is criminally underrated. Like I think people just like take the piss out of him or whatever. But like he's been competing against like Johnny Rapio for like 2 years now, right?
yeah,
And he was like the main way his team won games. Like, what do you think that team is doing? I mean, I feel like for whatever reason, maybe some problematic reasons, Marskill never like quite got the credit he deserved. I never thought he was good as like Rapio or Johnny. I don't think that's like controversial to say, but yeah, I think people needed to put more respect on Marskill for sure.
definitely. I think there might be a surprise in that bracket.
Oh
They might
my
that
lord,
might
he's
stir
turned up.
something up.
He's here. Ogie the Bray.
We're talking about Titans,
So,
the
so
Oh
Joust.
my god,
we're talking about the Marskill team, and then we're gonna round out like that group.
where we
Do you know
live
what I
anything.
think the thing with the Moscow team is?
Go
What
on,
makes
spit.
them what
Start
makes
spitting.
them what I think makes them a bit worse, or like maybe
Oh
why
my
they can't win
god.
games. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
I think it is because I don't think they have a crutch player. You know what I mean? So
Right.
like the teams have like Mamba would have Johnny,
Hmm.
um, Pred's team would have like Gunter and shit. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
they have Chrome and stuff like that. You know,
Hmm.
they don't have that one player that like put you like they can just put you over the board. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Just by his lonesome, he can just get you
Hmm.
where you need to be. You know what I mean? I don't think they have that. I don't think
Hmm.
anyone on that team is capable of that. I feel like Maskill was, and I feel like Maskill has
Yeah.
shown he can be. Not this season though. I don't think he's done that this season at all. And
I completely
whenever they
agree.
won, they've had like either Maskill or like Sap when he was subbing.
Yeah,
They'd
yeah.
have him like just put him over the board. You know what I mean? Just by his lonesome, he could just do it. But I don't think they have that. I even feel like the Jousters have that in like Duduin. You know, I
Yeah,
feel
I
like
agree. Yeah, Duty had some crazy Raging games.
the Jousters have that in Duduin. My team has that in like Shriek, maybe
Yeah.
me. You know, I don't think they have that. I don't think Lesty can do that for them. I don't think Zany can do that for them. Even though I feel like he's been performing, I feel like he's too passive, so he
Yeah, I
can't.
agree. Yeah,
So
yeah.
he can't do that for them. Masker's just had I think a bad year overall. He can't do that for them. And then dual lane is just I mean their dual is just new. There's no
Yeah.
experience, right? So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just like they just don't have the individual skill. I do think they play really well together because their
Yeah,
scrims are
yeah.
always like fine. At least against my team, they're like always fine. I just don't think they have the individual player that can just give them the win. You know, they don't have a Chrome. You know, they
Yeah,
don't
for
have a
sure.
Johnny.
I think
Yeah,
the
And
team.
if they did, I feel like they could actually like get more wins. They could like beat teams, but they just don't have that. You know,
yeah,
that's
I
like my
agree.
number one thing for them.
I totally agree with that, honestly. So what are our predictions for that group? Like who do we think is gonna make it out?
So it's Maskill, it's Dan, and it's Ikram.
So you started on that, Vera. Like finish it off for us, yeah.
Wait, so
Give me the
is it
two.
those three in the bracket, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Was it?
Maskill, Dan, Echrome, and Preds.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. So I think with that bracket, the top two, it just I think it just has to be straight up just Preds and Ikram.
Yeah.
There's a lot of question marks on the Ikram team, depending on how motivated they are, how much work they've
Mm-hmm.
actually been putting in, especially with this new meta coming up, this new patch.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna be some question marks, but I think just from player names, I want to say those two.
It is a stacked roster on player names, apart from one goofy guy in the jungle, which we won't go into. But you know, I think I agree, but I wouldn't be surprised if this Dan team beat one of them. Like if the Echrome team is like unmotivated or like
Yeah,
they haven't put in like the practice, I could see like the Dan team beating them, and that wouldn't be like the craziest thing in the world to me.
I think it's
But yeah,
definitely that
I'd
wild
probably
card.
mirror that, and I'd say those are the two teams you're expected to get out
What do you think,
for
Ogie?
sure.
I mean, for sure. I think for
Yeah.
sure those two teams, right? But I see the Dan team going third. I don't think.
Hmm.
I think they'll actually. I think the fucking Just of Six. I think they'll be last. I think that's possible. I
Hmm.
also do think that it's possible for Dan's team to beat um Chrome's team, but I don't
Yep.
think it will happen. I think it's like a very slim chance, but it can
Yep.
happen.
Yeah. For
Just
sure.
just just based off the fact that like they can outdraft them. If they don't outdraft them, then they will never beat them. But I feel like if they win them on draft, they can definitely win those games. I think
Yeah, I
that's where
agree.
the team is the weakest. If or like that's where their biggest weakness is if you outdraft them, if you like pick against like Chrome or Deathwalker or something like that, you camp him, maybe
Yeah,
zeros.
yeah,
You
definitely.
can definitely beat the team, but
Yep.
otherwise, like so, there's a slim chance. Otherwise, I don't think. I think I agree with both
Yep.
of you. Like, it will for sure be Wargs and the Scarabs, and I think Wargs will be the first to come out of that one,
Yeah,
and
I
then
agree.
Scarabs will be
I
the
think that
second.
like whatever happens, the Wargs are almost definitely making it out of that one.
Unless something bad happens and their jungle possibly just
I mean,
disappears.
yeah. Oh.
But you
Whoa, whoa,
know,
whoa,
we'll
whoa,
see.
whoa,
We'll
whoa, whoa,
see.
whoa. Well, they might get a monster instead,
Oh.
and then Europe should be scared.
Okay.
Oh,
Um,
Yaxos will be there, or actually
Yaxos, the
Dark will
destroyer
be
of
there.
worlds.
Dark will be there no matter what.
Dark. I
Yeah.
actually rate Dark. Okay, we move on to the next bracket, which is the big boy Johnny team on
Ooh.
Hexmambo. It's me on my team with Pretty Prime, Sigol, Gegov, Gods. Then have Ogi the Bray, the Tanukis, and then the Olympus Bolts, which is the Jousters,
Oh yeah.
Aaron Dutcher and the likes. So what are our thoughts on? Let's just go with Mambo. Like, what do we think of this team? Rip it off.
Um, I mean, Mambo, you know, they're just known as that team that just beats everyone. There's just some people don't even try against that team, to be honest,
Yep.
because it's just a waste.
Yep.
You know, obviously the powerhouse, the best player in SCC,
Yep.
easily Johnny
The
on
best
that
player
team.
in Europe. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I mean, he will just 1v5 the game, but I feel like it's a lot more than that. I think, you know, he actually just has a solid team that can still hold their own in every lane, and it just makes the game so much easier for him in general. You know,
Yep.
he's got Causey, which just is like just an insanely consistent support. You know, actually carrying games in last LAN,
Mhm.
putting in work.
He was crazy last land. Yep.
Yeah. He definitely made a name for himself because he was actually new, kind of new to sports. I mean, he was
Hmm.
not new, but you know, he was making solo before, so it's actually very impressive to see that.
He subbed in for Eye Silence, no? When
Um,
because
yeah,
the
yeah, he
coast
did,
team
he
made
did.
worlds and Eye Silence didn't go to LAN, so Cozzy subbed in and had a really good LAN.
Yeah,
I think Cozzy's made like a big name for himself. Definitely like a top tier support for sure.
and I mean they've got the Spanish bomb in solo. You know, Julio. Some people say he's washed, but I think, you know, just I mean, even if he is, he's got the team to back him up. But I think Julio is always just a consistently like, insane
Yeah, yeah.
mechanical player. And the dual lane, I say, you know, some people say maybe Spudio could be the weak link of that team, but I think Spudio still, you know, in conversation of the top three ADCs.
Yeah, yeah.
I think he definitely holds his own, and that team should not lose a single game if they're trying.
I could see them losing games. I could definitely see them losing games. I don't think they'll lose a set. I think that'd be pretty rogue. I mean, the Yogi team could beat them, and obviously we are going to destroy them. But I mean, I could see them dropping a game here and there. Maybe they lose to the Preds team if they both go through. Like I could see that happening. I don't think it will. I think
I
it
don't, I
wins
don't think
every
it'll be smooth
set.
sailing for them. Like
Yeah, yeah.
I'd pick them to like go to land like 100%.
Yep.
But I don't think it'll be smooth sailing. Like
Yeah, I
I
agree.
feel like there's a lot of questions.
I
First,
agree.
like the meta, especially around solo lane.
Mhm.
Well, I do think like Julio can just play like he can just brute force warriors, and I don't think it matters,
Yep.
that much. If like the meta stays the same, where like mages are
Yeah,
high
yeah.
prio and like shit like Cthulhu is high prio,
Mhm.
which I think is broken.
Mhm.
I feel like that just doesn't really bode well for the team. That's like the obvious one, right? But like in terms of like Rapio and like the rumors of like him
Yep.
playing jungle, Johnny going mid, shit like that.
Huh.
I
That's not
mean,
a rumor, is it? Say that ain't so.
I mean, they were supposed
No
to play
way.
that against Dutcher's team on game day, but Dutcher slept over, obviously. Uh,
Right.
That guy
so
needs to
that's
sleep.
like a thing that can happen. Like, I don't know. It's just a rumor, as I said. I don't know if it's gonna happen, but like, depending on what happens, depending on how, I mean, they'll take it 100% seriously. And they dropped like a lot of, like, they went 5-0, but I'm pretty sure they dropped,
They dropped a lot
uh,
of
uh,
games, like
they
actual
dropped,
games.
they dropped games, especially game ones.
Hmm.
To me, Wargs, I think to Scarabs as well. They all would drop game once every single time. So they dropped like 3 games, but they always came back to like win it. But I don't think it'd be smooth sailing. I'll pick them to leave, of course,
Yeah, yeah,
but I don't. It's for me. It's like highly possible they don't leave as the first seed.
yeah.
It depends. Again, there's like too many question marks. No one's played the meta,
Yeah.
like just looking at the roster and how they're cooking with that shit, especially if like Rapio doesn't enjoy mid and whatever. Like,
Hmm.
who
Mm.
knows? Honestly, who knows? They will definitely leave though.
Yeah.
But see,
I,
I don't.
I
I think my team can beat him, but maybe not. Depending on how the next couple of weeks of scrims go, I think it's possible. I think, I think the fucking Scarabs and the Wargs are sure to beat him, especially Scarabs. I think Scarabs match up well into that team. Not Wargs, Scarabs particularly. I think they match up quite
mhm.
well into the team because their side lanes are so strong,
Yeah, yeah.
and I feel like that's where maybe Mambo is the weakest
I
in the
agree.
side
Yeah,
lane
yeah.
department. And their side lanes are probably the best side lane duo in EU.
Hmm.
So I think they match up really well, and I can see the Scarabs beating them, like maybe even 2-0, but probably 2-1. I can
Yeah.
see it happening.
I think the big thing for this team was Angry getting banned
Oh, for sure.
because
I mean,
yeah,
well,
Angry is like he's banned. He can't play comp. His he was just the best mid in Europe. He was like easily SPL
I
level,
mean,
and like you,
Yeah.
like right now,
and it was
Johnny's like
clear as
Johnny's
well.
the best, right? Johnny's the
Yeah.
best, and then it's like a couple of clear spots. You know what I mean? Until you
Hmm.
find the second best player, whoever that might be for you, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to Angry, it's Johnny and then it's Angry, and
Yeah.
then it's the clear spots, right? Like
Yeah.
that's how
Yeah.
good Angry is. So if that
Yeah.
team
Yeah.
had
He's
Angry,
crazy.
it's just like it doesn't even matter who fills out the rest of your roles. Like that team is already absolutely crazy. Like
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
especially if you have
Angry's
Angry
just
backing
mental.
you up with comms
Yeah.
and everything. Like it actually doesn't matter who your the rest of your roles are. Your team is insane.
Yeah.
You
Your
will be
team is
going
just
top two even
ridiculous
if you have like just randoms on your fucking sidelines.
for
That's how
sure.
good they are. So
I think,
definitely, man.
yeah, I think that was the big thing about that team. I think, yeah, I rate Julio. I think he's been playing well. I think the majors are going to be like a problem. It's just a question mark on the meta. I think some majors, like, I think Poseidon has a bit of vulnerability to fall out with like some of the item changes. But there's ones like Posh who were good before like the Vamp.
I think Posh is bound to stay good. a
Yeah,
hundred percent. I
yeah,
think.
yeah.
I
He was
think
good
Posh will
before.
stay good as well.
I think Posh will stay good.
I think so.
Wow.
I think Posh. I think his like presence on the map, on like that soul
Yeah,
side
he
of the
wrote
map.
it. Yeah,
Where
yeah,
no, but like, it's just like his presence on the Fire Giant and on the Pyro is just so strong.
hmm
Like that too is just so insane. You go Shogun's second or third item, he's so strong. I think, and I think he will stay strong. So I
for
think
sure.
Upwash and Poss will stay strong. I'm not sure about Morgan Le Fay.
Yeah,
Raijin is dead
maybe
though.
Morgan. Yeah,
Raijin is dead, 100%. He won't be played. So those 3 picks, I still think can be played. I think
yeah, and like you said,
they'll be fine.
Cthulhu as well. I think there's some
Cthulhu for sure,
magicals
very good
that are
as
just
well.
gonna
Yeah.
stay in, and it's like how can Julio just like brute force warriors through them,
Yeah.
and if not, like how much of a problem is
Though
that?
though Cthulhu does like all the major items, so he has been indirectly nerfed as well.
Yeah, yeah,
But I still think he's very strong, especially if you buff spikes. Like I
hmm
think they did this patch.
they
So
did, yeah,
which is like one of his best items. So he will just stay strong,
yeah.
100%,
And
even
then
though he's got nerfed.
their duo lane is really good. Like on paper, like Kozi and Spud, I think are like really good players, but they haven't actually had the best year.
No, they
Yeah.
have. I feel like most teams that were like had a chance of beating them, they were trying to expose the dual lane.
Yeah,
That's where they were going.
yeah. And I think duo it's been a duo meta the whole year. Apart from maybe this little blip with like Mage Solos being good, it's basic, and even then, like it's basically been a duo lane the whole meta the whole time. And I
Yeah,
think
for
that can be
sure.
a real issue. Like if you have a really dangerous Eye Silence Chrome showing up, I think that actually like is a real problem. The Preds Davy team, I think is the strongest duo at the moment. Like very strong. So I think there are like some question
Possibly,
marks
yeah.
about Mambo for sure. I think the thing about Mambo is like Mambo was like the premier like EU brand. Like they were kind of like the G2
Yeah,
of like
yeah,
SMITE. Like you knew
yeah,
who was
yeah,
on it. You knew it was the Johnny team. They were the
yes.
EU team, and we had. I mean, I don't know about you, but I always felt like Europe's purpose should be like going deeper lands. I felt like as a region, like we're just stronger than America, especially in like SEC, SOC scene.
And that's just
You,
been proven
yeah,
for
it's
the
been
past couple
proven
of
time and
years.
time
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
So I always wanted to see like teams like Mambo go deep at lands, and I have question marks like if they go to land, how deep do they go? I mean, I think SPL's been a bit shaky. I don't think they're like there's a lot of SPL teams that don't look amazing, but like I have more worries about this Mambo team than like the Tricks, Chrome,
Oh,
Johnny
for sure it
Deathwalker
isn't
teams from
Oh,
stacked
that's
with
last year.
true.
talent. I don't think it's
Yeah,
stacked with talent.
yeah.
You just have to look at it this way, man. Like they just have Johnny, you know. At some
Just have
point, it's
They
just
just have
like
Johnny.
they just have Johnny. Like he can just bring him over the board. Like I don't think it matters that much. Like some games, you will just win, you know. But I actually agree. I don't think they're stuck with talent. Like
Yeah.
like Kona, Coast. That was like on the Ravens last year with adapting, right? So Kona, Coast, adapting, Angry, and Kazi, right? So
Yep.
Angry got banned. Adapting is SPL, Kona's SPL, and
Mhm.
Coast is SPL, right?
Yep.
That was like our second best team, and
Yeah.
the best team was Dink Tricks,
Yeah. Mhm.
was a Chrome, Death Walker, and Johnny. We
Mhm.
have like all like and they all been split or they've not playing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's definitely not the most stacked team. Like, I feel like EU this year is a lot closer than it was last year, and I
Yeah, for
think it
sure.
was pretty close last year. Apart from Mambo, like I think
Yeah.
there were a couple of teams that could have made it instead of Ravens, if I remember on that run.
Yeah. Mhm.
And but Mambo was just clear, you know. And I don't think that this Mambo team is nearly as good as last year's. That's for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
Speaking about the actual competition to the Mambos,
The
I think
closest competition. Let's get on to the closest competition in this group to Mambo. So Ogi, fucking take it away. It's your team.
I mean, me take it away, man.
I think
I think we're
I
making.
can do it.
the
I can
group,
I can
man.
give you a rundown of
Yeah.
the team.
Okay.
Alright. So I think this was like this is the dark horse of the SEC for me. Like you had the whole team disband apart from Streak, and he had to basically build a roster. And he picked up Pika, April, which is now Rays, Ogi, and Calvin for support.
yeah,
And I think expectations weren't that high, and I think that the expectations have been blown. Like,
yeah,
you
completely.
beat Wargs, you took games off Mambo. We can get on to the Scarabs, right?
Yeah, we don't talk about the incident, man.
We can
The,
talk about it. Yeah.
we can't talk about it. We can't. Yeah.
But like the performances from this team have actually been a lot higher than people were expecting. Like it's very clear that this team, if they're playing really well, can beat the other teams in a SEC. Like if they have just like a lights out game, it's like very possible this team beats anyone else. Like it's definitely a reality that could happen. Shriek's been playing really consistently. Calvin's been hit or miss, but when he's hit, he's been playing lights out.
Mhm.
Pika is I think Pika's been playing really well. I think there is some like question marks against like players like Gunter and stuff. Personally, for me, like Pika just isn't as good as Gunter. Um, and then Raze has also been playing well. I mean, he's new to the team, so we have to see like if he fills like the role better or worse than April. He could fill it better. The real strength of this team is Ogi the Bray. He's just been going nuclear, boys. Let's face it, he's just going crazy.
I think
Watching a lot of the games, the strength is having like good early games into these teams, and then when like these solo rotations come through, like just decimating the other teams in like these mid game 5v5s, like or like 4v4s. I think that's like the real strength of this team. It catches a lot of other teams like off guard. I think like we can get on to the doomed set, but at one point against Deathwalker Chrome, this team was up 2-17 in kills with a 17k gold lead. They end up losing the game, right, which is a disaster. But the fact that like they have that lead in the first place like says a lot about like how explosive this team is. So and I think with like meta as well, like a lot of the picks actually favor this team. It's like super possible this team can beat basically anyone else if they're all like playing together and playing well.
I just want to give like a note about you're listing names off the Dan team, but players who should be in SEC that weren't, and I feel like a lot of people said Ogi when he
Yeah,
was
it
in
was. Yeah, yeah. Ogie was
SEC.
like the big one. Yeah, for sure.
And a lot of people, I feel like a lot of people didn't really have high hopes for Ogi at the start. Before he subbed for SEC, did well, but I think there's another tournament Ogi played in to make SEC, and it didn't quite go well, and people maybe had some low expectations. But ever since joining SEC, joining a team that actually has a lot of experience, he's
Yep,
kind of come out as one of the top players, and definitely has a leading role in that team
for sure.
to drive him to succeed.
100%. I mean, Ogie was eternally cursed. And it's like, will he ever make SEC? He was just eternally cursed. But
So
I think
true, actually.
now he's got here. He's actually been playing like really well. People have been saying like he's top three, and a lot of people have been saying he's like top two solos in the region.
Exactly.
And I think if you look at the games, that's not like us sucking him off or whatever. I think that's just like realistic. Like in my opinion, he's been playing better than Julio. Like this team is like it has a real like focus on solo. So I mean, you're goated with the sauce, you mate.
So I
Yeah, I
think
mean,
like
possibly, yeah,
I think what we should do is
quite
I guess give
possibly.
our outside looking in opinions, and then we can give us insider info of
I mean,
what he
I can
thinks.
talk right
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
right,
yeah.
about it.
You
Yeah.
it's your team. Yeah, go.
I mean, to be honest, I actually agree with Briffa. Where like the like, so for me, so going into the gauntlet, right? I was looking at the seeding, right? And we were like last seed, and Chrome's team was second. And for me personally, I was like, if we could beat this Chrome team, I'm pretty sure we can go like all the way. I think it was quite possible, right? And
Hmm.
so we had this like pretty pretty hit or miss set against Bolts. Like it was. We should have lost that one. In my personal opinion, we should have lost it, but we won it due to
Okay.
I think bad calls from the enemy team. But we did win the set. They're
Right.
going to 2-0 then 2-0 against the Scarabs and the Titans, just back to back, just absolutely blowing them out. I did not expect that, especially after the first set. I did not expect that. So it like I'm obviously confident going into every game, but
Yeah.
like objectively speaking, I was not expecting to have that to happen. And then winning the game one against Wargs, I was like, I mean, this is like, and we stumped them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That game one. So obviously this we lost that set. Didn't really go our way. I think we got a bit too lenient. Like after you win one, two, three sets in a row, and then you go into the fourth one and you win game one. At that point, I feel like maybe the team got a bit. They let loose,
Yeah. Yeah.
including me. And so that's immediately what like ended our run in the gauntlet. But I think it was crazy. Personally, I was not expecting it at all. So going into the split, I was 100% confident in actually having a really good outcome in the
Mhm.
split. And I mean, we were 3-2, right? We're fourth seed, but we were
Yep.
3-2, as were the other two teams. Except Mambo that went 5-0. I think
Mhm.
they were undefeated. I think that's a
Yeah.
pretty good outcome. I think we should have beat the Scarabs, but ultimately losing that game one where we went 17-0 up and then losing it,
Yeah. Yeah. It's
I
nuke.
was just
17
doomed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
kills,
the
zero
That's a
deaths.
nuke.
I
That's a
was
nuke.
personally mentally finished, and if I'm mentally finished, then certain other people on the team are definitely more finished than me, right? So I knew we were gonna lose that too. Whoa, but if we won that game one, we would have been second seed.
Yeah, I agree.
And
I for sure agree.
I think that is a pretty realistic outcome for the team. I think that is perfectly fine. I think the Scarabs are the second seed. I don't think I think we can beat them. I think they can beat us as well, but I definitely don't think that we won't beat them, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think the second seed was like pretty good for us, and I feel like it's something that should have happened, but ultimately didn't. And I'm actually not surprised at the outcome of the split. But when the gauntlet was coming about, we had one scrim against the Just F6, and that we got 3-0'd, right? And then going to that game
Yeah.
one, I mean, we were not expecting much. I was not
Mhm.
expecting anything. And so I think it broke all expectations for me. That's for
For
sure.
sure.
And I'm confident. I'm
Yeah.
confident.
Yeah.
Just need scrims, and I'm actually confident. I think we will make it out of the group for sure. I think the other
Mm.
teams in the group, I think they're fine. I think no one should be disrespected. I think your team is very proactive. and in that sense, catching us off guard is 100% possible. Don't think that that can happen 2 games in a row,
Mhm.
but I think we can definitely drop games, and I think do think we will beat you. But I, you know, I personally won't be going into set lenient. I
Yeah.
think actually the Bolts. I'm not really scared of that team. I might be more cautious with you, just because you play the game and you care more. I mean, their
We can
jungler,
get onto the bolts now.
their jungler is just, So
Yeah.
I'm confident. I'm confident we'll make it out of the group for
Do you
sure.
think? Do you think there's like an aspect of like playing with no expectations? Because I don't think people expected like much from your team like going into this SEC. But now that you've like taken games off basically every team, or like shown that you're capable of beating them,
Yeah.
do you think there's gonna? Do you think there's like more pressure now?
I mean, for sure, right? Like naturally, right?
Yeah.
At least for me,
Okay.
um, going into the gauntlet, I mean, I had no expectations for
Mhm.
us, let alone anybody else. Like what people were saying. I mean, you were in calls. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
people were saying, like they were just saying. I mean, it's done. You're gonna win that set. The next one is over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Kind of overlooked that
So
Masco team.
right, so it's like definitely way easier to play with no expectations, right? But that doesn't mean that you know I'll falter under that pressure or anything like that.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
good. I'm good. And I think the rest of the team, I'm probably the least experienced player on the team.
Mm.
Like Raze was SEC last year. I
Yep.
was for a little bit, but he was like for a split. Pika's been playing for a while.
Streak's been in there
Trick,
for
Calvin.
ages. Yeah.
So if I'm not under pressure, I don't think they will be at all. They've been there.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's chill. It's chill, I
For sure.
think.
Look, sounded
Um.
very confident going in.
Yeah.
Hopefully it goes well.
We can do a quick one on the Jousters, the Bolts. I mean, these guys are clowns. Let's face it, they're fucking clowns. None of them play the game anymore.
Yeah, let's
Maybe
just open up a
Dudu
rip
plays the
sesh.
game. He's the
Let's
only
open up a
player that
rip
actually
sesh.
plays. Dutcher is a heroin addict.
Pizza eating,
Oh,
24
Barrow
hours a day
plays. Barrow's
sleeping.
solid. Barrow's an
Bro,
absolute.
that brother
Barrow's a
be
real one.
sleeping over fucking game days, man.
Sleeping through game days.
People-
Like,
Aaron, Aaron is a League of Legends main who breaks his monitor playing
yeah,
League
he's like
in
silver
Bronze
in League,
3.
He
bro.
spent 1,000 on
That's
League
crazy.
already in like
He's
first,
spent 1,000 on League.
first few months.
And he's
playing.
bronze, man. He's hard stuck. That's crazy.
He has like 200 hours a week. I'm just saying, people laughed at me when I
Like,
said Dutcher
fucking
sleeps all
Yorick,
day
man.
until we fucking
Yeah,
slapped
true.
for
Actually,
that.
that's true.
Slapped over for that.
He does still
game day.
boost you in rank 24/7 though.
No, that's irrelevant. But anyways,
I think the team is very skilled. I just don't think they're
Yeah,
good.
yeah, I agree. I feel like
I think they're very skilled.
this is the
but-
biggest waste of potential I've ever seen. I think.
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
For
100%.
Like,
sure.
because Aaron had peaks. Aaron went like 19-0 against Deathwalker's team to qualify for SEC. Dutcher obviously like is a very very good support. Dudu like there's no question like he's mechanically really good. And Load when he's playing the game was like a really competitive ADC. But
Hmm.
none of them give a fuck about the game.
I
They're
think
absolute
yeah.
griefers, mate.
Dudu definitely a wild card in solo.
Sad for Barrow to be on that team. Like Barrow's trying so hard.
Yeah, yeah. I mean I respect Burrow. I think the like
I think
he's
Dudu is also like I don't think Dudu like I think Dudu is the same. I
Yeah.
think
Dudu's playing
I
every
think,
day.
I think
He's actually
like
still playing
Load
games.
is obviously like a pickup that they didn't want to have. They obviously wanted to
Yeah.
have Maestro.
and
the
Load
team would have
himself
been
said
better
that
off.
he wasn't really like that keen on playing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that guy cares at all. I don't think he's
No.
even
Yeah.
you shouldn't even talk about him. Like it's just like like bro doesn't want to play, and that's fine, bro.
That's
But,
not said like he doesn't want to play.
like he wasn't supposed to be in that position at all. Like
Yeah.
he didn't want to be there at all.
Yeah, for sure.
But for somebody like Aaron, like he made it, and then he just said, "Nah,
Yeah.
fuck it." He's playing Yorick in League for 500 hours a week, and
Yeah.
he's fucking bronze hard stuck. You know what I mean? I don't think that's. I think maybe playing a bit of Smite would be a better waste of your time, but it's just sad. I think it's sad for players that care on the team, but what can you do? Like
I mean, Aaron is the captain of that team, and he's leading them down
bro,
the
just
abyss,
watch his
mate.
GSL team, man. You're on it, right? Like,
I'm on the
mean-
GSL team. He has not scheduled a single game. Does not play the game anymore. He's AFK Elo Helden League.
Dutcher told
Okay.
me if he gets any messages with Smite involved, he just ignores them. So he He has not even
Dutch is a
filled in.
TFT main now, yeah.
Bro's a heroin addict, man. What the fuck?
Dasher told me he hasn't even filled in his team's paperwork to get paid for this.
Bro, I
SEC
had to
split,
ping
so
him. Like, oh my god, man.
it's
You
looking
know what's
bad
the worst
now.
thing about that? It's like he won't fill it out, but that doesn't like do anything for him only. It delays everybody else's payment, right? So it's a bit, fuck him, fuck that guy, man. Fucking
Yeah, he's definitely just disappeared.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
and then the last team in that group is my team, which like we like me and Veron talked about. Ogie had like a little touch on it. Like again, we're like probably the newest team in
yeah,
this whole thing. Like Primo has loads of experience, obviously. I think we have potential. I think we can beat like most of the teams in this. Like we're not super scared, but definitely newer to it than everyone else. There's a bunch of like me that basically everyone but Primo is newer to the game. There's
yeah.
potential there. I think we're skilled. I think we care about the game. I think we're hungry.
Definitely
But
wildcard team.
I think it would be unreasonable to like predict us that we make it out. So for like in terms of predictions, for me, this group is the Johnny Mambo team and then the Ogi team, the Tanukis.
So you predict those two to qualify?
Yeah.
Okay.
Objectively, but subjectively, bro, you're just making it out. You're going first. You're being
Yeah.
Mambo.
Facts.
So, yeah.
Worlds.
Mm.
champions,
As
yeah.
Bobby would say. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Agree. Well, what are your thoughts, Aaron?
Okay, so we got Johnny, we got Oki, we got you, and we have who's that other team? The fourth team. Forgetting.
Dutch mate.
Oh, is it
That's
Dasher?
pretty
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Oh my.
I mean, yeah, I think it does seem sadly quite clear. With Jousters,
Yep.
I feel like they're wild cards. If they still continue to show little effort, there's probably not gonna make it. I mean, it's obviously just Johnny gonna make it, and I guess it has to be Yogi.
Mhm.
The
Sure.
rest, the rest is kind of done.
I 100% agree with that. So we have a top four of Preds, the Wargs with Preds, the Scarabs, which is the Ekrem Deathwalker team. We have Ogi and Johnny. That's a banger top four, actually.
And then they battle out for the top two to go to LAN. So
Yeah.
that'll be interesting.
Do we want to do who we think makes it out of that, or
Um.
do we want to save that for like when it's done?
Yeah, we save that for the next part. We save that next
Okay,
part.
okay, huge.
Do a
Okay.
little spice.
So that's like the whole bracket like sorted out. We can touch on a few things. We can touch on like the new patch that just came out, which is World's patch, right? If I'm not mistaken. Then we also
Yeah, I think there'll
Um,
be one more bonus patch for that.
Yeah,
yeah,
patch.
there'll
something.
be a bonus balance,
Which
which I
I
think
think
is
could be big.
needed, by the way.
I think it could be big. I think some gods went like
Yeah,
not
yeah,
nerfed
yeah.
enough. I think Bog needs like 10 times more nerfs than he
Hmm.
received in that patch.
I mean,
And like
I
Athena and
think
shit.
yeah,
But,
we
yeah.
can go
Athena.
with patch. I think the bonus balance is going to be the real patch notes, honestly, because
I mean,
there's
it
still
just
gonna be a
depends on
bunch of
how hard they're
nerfs.
gonna. I don't think particularly items or anything like that needs nerfed. I think that's like, I think it's fine. I think the big outliner for this patch was breastplate, and
Yep.
it's been nerfed
Yeah.
already to like its previous state. That should put it in like a good place. I don't think there's any. I don't know if they've overbuffed anything this patch. Maybe like Silver Branch or something like that. That could just
Axe is
break the
buffed.
game. Yeah, or something like that. That could break the game until the bonus patch. But I think gods need looking at. I think there are some characters that are just way too broken and have not been nerfed
Yeah.
yet again.
I mean, I think that's the thing. I mean, we have an axe buff, which I think is good. Axe has been basically bad the whole year. We
Yeah.
had
It's been
Vam-
bad since like spring. Yeah, I
yeah,
think.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
the start was really good. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
it got hard nerfed and never got picked up again, basically. We have a breastplate nerf, which is a Reaver. I still think that item's good.
It's agreed. I don't think it's broken, but I think it's good.
Yeah, I still think it's totally built. I don't think you're griefing if you're building that item.
No,
it's,
for sure. I think the
it's-
other one is also really good. I think maybe some in certain comps looking into
yeah,
it.
yeah,
would
definitely. Like it
be-
destroys like
It's
backer
25%
and-
reduced
Yeah, yeah.
basic attack damage.
Yep.
So
Might be
I mean,
30 even. I'm not like 100%.
I think it's 25. If I'm
Yeah,
not mistaken.
probably
I
is.
haven't built it, but yeah.
It's a
I think
pretty big modifier though.
it's also a big
Um,
aura, so like
mhm.
it's very large.
In terms of
And then
gods, though,
we have some light ones like the the Vamp Shroud nerfs with Pythags. These aren't like huge item nerfs though. The only big
Oh, yeah.
item nerf is Fablasts, which might have a. It's really this
Yeah,
is just only a Yemo nerf.
I think that's a needed item nerf. I think we were
100%.
I think we were
100%.
looking into a healer meta in support, which is never like good. I think we were looking into a triple mage like triple mage comps
Yep.
being normal.
Yep.
Like mage and
Solo
mage
mid
and
and
solo, then
support.
looking at like a tank jungler, and then
Mhm.
just going like Afro Hell,
Yep.
Eset or Yamoja, but probably not Yamoja because she would be banned every game. You know, like that's what we were looking
Yeah.
into, and I feel like maybe it's still good. I think some of those guys need looking. I think Isa needs looking. I think Athena needs looking. I think Yamoja needs looking. Like I think
Mhm.
all these guys are really good.
I mean, the Fey Hoops is really specifically a emoji nerf.
I just don't know how that works. Like, do you know how like before you would two somebody and then
Yeah.
every single time it jumped on somebody you would like pick a flower, right?
Mhm.
So does it have like an internal cooldown of like one flower being put on the ground?
The cooldown begins when the first flower is dropped, but it
Okay.
can trigger more flowers.
I mean that is very bad. That is a
Oh.
big nerf, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It
it will
just
still drop
seems.
like 5 if you
Oh,
use it, but
so maybe like hell it would be 5, but Emoja it won't. It will be just be 1, right?
I mean
If you think
the
about
thing
it.
to me about this is
Actually, I don't know
Hell and
how that
Afro were
works.
not actually building this item.
Afro not. I think hell should be. Huh?
I mean, it depends. I mean, people really like the double aura Lonos for Hell. Is what like has been like the standard thing.
Double Lonos
The
the
thing about
Fabulous.
yeah,
No?
people go sickle finish
Oh,
star.
okay, like Lotus.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think
The thing,
still Fabulous is like your fourth there. It's late, but for
yeah, for
sure
sure.
at some point, right? Like
Yeah, I mean, you have. I mean, you might need like Erosion, Spectral, or Relic, depending on like the game.
Also to note, the new god, Maman Brigitte, is gonna be playable. I think from now on. So, what do we
Mhm.
think about this god? Do you think it's gonna be a must ban, must pick, or is it just gonna be another major
I mean,
assassin?
I actually think that that god is strong. I think that the two big issues for her is that we're in a heavy mage meta already, right? And drafting a magical and jungle is pretty grief because
Yeah,
you can't just go. You're gonna have a magical support, magical mid, and maybe magical solo. Like you can't have a having fourth magical can be really hard. Um, and then it's not really like a carry jungle meta. It's you're seeing a lot of like Erlangs, Najars, stuff like this. I don't think she keeps pace with those characters early on, and I don't think she outscales some of these laners enough, especially with some of the supports being played. I think it can be very hard for her to play in this meta, you know.
yeah. I've just
I
seen
think
her
if you saw her
ranked and
earlier
she
in the
seems
year with like the
insane.
Hebos Owls running around, she'd be really good. But I think in this
Ooh,
meta,
yeah.
it's not super suited for her, you know.
I'm not sure because I feel like your ult is very good. It's
Yeah.
like basically a long range. Like it's not a Sylvana ult. Sylvana ult actually knocks up very high. I've noticed when I played against him yesterday. I've kind of forgot, but I was thinking like I mean it's basically like the Cthulhu 2, right? It does a lot of damage. Like the
Yeah.
Cthulhu 2 on his ult. It does a lot of damage. So it is so she does have like team fight potential. But I feel like I think her early game will be just too shit.
Yeah, it's
Too
too
bad.
exploitable.
I think
Yeah.
it's too bad. I'm not sure if she will be good. Like I don't think hyper carries are what you need in jungle right now.
Yeah, I agree.
Hmm.
Like hard hyper carries.
Yeah,
Like you're
yeah.
looking at like Merc, Kali, Maman, Kwang, Hebo. Hebo does no damage right now.
Yep.
Like he takes way too long. So looking at gods like Rat, Thor, Naja, Serket, Erlang,
Yeah.
those are your jungle
Yeah,
picks
yeah.
right now. And as Briffa said, you need a physical in jungle right
Yeah,
now. I
yeah.
think. So
Completely.
I mean, the big ones are god changers, yeah, for sure. I think that the thing about healers is healers got their heals kind of nerfed, but like in place of that, they got a lot of utility. So like,
yes.
so the thing about like Afro Hell is if you actually look at the kits, especially Afro, like she is so overloaded on utility. If you think of like what some of her abilities does, like the one gives you 15% extra damage. It gives you extra MS, extra prots. Her three gives like the Horn Shard passive, like the cooldown one. She has damage and CC immunity, which also gives the damage buff rate. Um, like she's so overloaded on utility, it's not just the healing anymore. And their build curves with these items like Sickle and breastplate now that it's like really cheap. Like they just outscale other supports, and they can sit in duo. Like you'll see like these Afros sit in duo for like 15, 20 minutes. Like they're really happy to do that because you're not fighting a prolonged 2v2 against an Afro. You won't ever win it. And it's actually good to get farm on these characters. Like they do so much with it compared to like characters like Ganesh, which have fallen out quite a bit. I mean, he can still do well in some comps, but he is just not ever outscaling Afros when it comes to like these later game team fights. Um, so I think that's like and not seeing like Hell or Afro touched to me is pretty mental because they're like very clearly like insane supports here. And this Athena nerf is the worst nerf I've seen in Smite history.
Oh, isn't
It
it
is
Like
just
just
useless. I mean, it's just useless.
it's like Athena is so game breakingly broken. Like, and she solves that issue of like sitting in duo because she can rotate around the map, ult back to duo, or she can sit in duo and ult out to help like team plays on the map. She's still really good late game, and she's maxing this ability first. Like Athena emoji this patch are like top pick, top
That's
banned
crazy.
every single time. If you're second pick, sometimes you just flat out have to ban them both. They're unnerfed. I mean, emoji's nerfed the thing, but I think
mean,
this Athena nerf is mental to me.
at SEC level, Athena is like arguably she's an instant win.
Yeah, she's crazy.
In
She's
my
crazy.
opinion, I think that's why I argued Athena being better. Maybe not at the pro level. That's why I argued Athena being better because she's almost unbeatable. Like
Yeah.
the way you play the game, change like it just completely changes. I think it might actually be fine to play heavy late game comps into Athena just because and let Athena open if you want some like very strong picks for late game because you won't be able to do anything in early mid game
Yeah.
anyway. Because if you try to invade blue and she's level 5, right? So that's like third blue, right? It's not
Yeah.
second blue. You're not even the soul laner is level 5. So that's third blue. She would be level 5. She can just stay in duo, and when you start invading blue buff, she just rotates, right?
Yep.
So there's just no point. She's that broken. There's
Yep.
no counterplay to her in
Nope.
at SEC level.
Yeah.
Like straight up. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
she needs more like it's I don't think I've ever seen a nerf where the character just stays exactly the same. Like
Yeah.
they nerfed her and she's just exactly the same.
They
She
nerfed the attack speed debuff on her too by 10%, but it scales to the same amount.
Why does it scale? At least if it didn't scale, I still think she would be exactly the same.
Even if it
but
was 20 flat, like it would not
yeah,
change anything in my
I don't
opinion.
think it changes anything.
But the fact, and she maxes this ability first. So at level like 8 or 9, she's exactly the same as she was, which is when she's mental.
I mean, she enables mage meta as well. I think
Yep.
mage meta in solo because let's say you're playing Morgan, right, and you go blink, you can literally just blink in on somebody that may just be slightly out of position, blink in behind them to them like you're fearlessing them, throw abilities, then use your ult, and while you're doing all that, you can't die because the Athena has ulted you. She's giving you 30% mitigations and she's giving you 20% MS while you're
Yep.
Morgan ulting. You're never dying. And the fight, you won't win the fight. Like
Yeah, the mid changes on the ult, I think, were really big for this character.
I think the
especially
movement
later
speed
on.
changes are also very dumb.
Let's be honest, mate.
l-
We all know
she's so
Hyra's
overloaded.
bounce team have no idea what
She's
they're
so
doing.
overloaded. Like
I mean, they were smoking crack on this
she
one.
she enables everything. She's so broken
Yeah.
that she needs nerfs. Like
Yeah, like the
that
one
ult.
thing you'd say is like the only thing into like later game team comps, like maybe she struggles a bit, and like especially like Hell, like you can cleanse the taunt when she's going in. But the issue with Athena is if Athena gets ahead of these mages early, it's unplayable for them. Like Athena just runs the game, she's everywhere, and these healers don't get a chance to scale like at all.
She will
And
just
the
taunt
game's
you.
just over. Yeah.
Like she will taunt you and you will die at some.
Yeah.
Even if you have beads and you're Hell, like
Yep.
you won't be able to outplay it every. Like
No,
she will
I mean
die.
it's criminal. I mean I agree with the Cherno nerfs. Like I feel like I mean this character did not get hit where he needed to.
Their nerves, I guess. But his ult is like as Athena ult. It's the same thing.
It's what breaks him. Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's the same
It's
ult,
global
in my
power,
opinion.
global
It's just so
presence.
broken. Like, why does it give him mitigation? Why does it slow everybody on the map by 25% or something like that?
Yes, it's
It
insane,
slows
actually.
everyone on the map by 25%, and you can't even juke it. You can't juke it. You can't
unjukeable.
escape it. You can't even kill the clone.
I don't get that, by the way.
Like
Like it just sticks on you, and you're
Oh.
like, well, I guess I'm eating shit
That
for
could be
6
a
seconds.
sick addition, actually. Being able to kill a clone.
I mean, if you kill the clone like in time, he can't even TP to you. You know, like that would be. I think that would be like interesting.
Yeah,
at least.
make it at least
You know,
like
make the clone have like
playable.
500p or something like that, and maybe like scale it to like 1K.
Mhm.
Maybe it's not that bad, I guess, but you know, like he's just so broken, and he's unpunished for it. He can stay, so you can stay in the wall for like 3 seconds, then he can ult up for 6. He can stay the wall for 3 seconds. That's like
Yep.
that's basically 10 seconds, which is being immune.
A
to-
CC and damage immunity, yeah,
Yes,
it's wild.
like it's crazy.
A lot of
I
potential.
think just completely unbalanced. God, he's top picked up. He's prior ban every game as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, but against any team, everybody can play Chunabog. You know, there's not a single hunter in SEC that can't play Chunabog. So you have to ban it every game, or like if you're not first pick set,
Mhm.
or you have to, or you're playing into it, right? And then the guy is just splitting on left, while you can't even get a good fight going on the fucking what's it called on
On
FG
fire,
side.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just absolutely broken.
Oh yeah, that character's ridiculous. I mean, I guess the other thing that we could touch on is like this Bear Beast tourney. If we want to go into it, sounds fun. No, do you have any thoughts on this?
I think we're good to now. Do you want to save for next week's pod?
I mean, it's happening next week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Or is it the
so,
draft
yeah.
that's happening next week?
I think it's
I mean, the
happening.
teams are happening, like the captain reveal and stuff.
Okay, okay. I mean, we could go into like maybe like what we think of the format and strategies, maybe.
Okay,
I don't think
so
this. I don't think. So I thought it would be like capped to like 8 teams, right? I
Yeah.
don't think the snake format draft work if so he wants to have like 16
Oh, that's a
plus
really good
teams.
point. Yeah.
I don't think that that draft works
yeah,
that way anymore because and he would also have like SEC players picking later. So he would have so let's say he's having like he 80 years old in his that's what I read like when I came
yeah,
here. So he would have whoever's like at the bottom, like no unknown players, like or like less known or less good players, like I don't know who's on the fucking Excel sheet, like Jor, I remember that guy. So he would be like first, second, third, fourth pick, right? And then
Yep.
like me and Death Walker would be like last picks, right?
Hmm.
So he would go through all the good players, like so he would go through Johnny, Angry, Gunter, Davy Preds, whatever the fuck, right? All the SEC players. By the time it gets to me, at like 14, 15, 16, or whatever. I like who am I supposed to pick at that point, you know? Like
Yeah,
it
yeah,
is me, but like who who am I supposed to pick at that point? It's kind of
yeah.
I don't think that you can have a snake draft with 60. I think it I wasn't even thinking like he's obviously having this be an open tournament. I think I don't know if he wanted it to be
I think
that
that's to be a
way.
cap. That's to be like a player, like a
I don't
total
think he
cap.
wanted it to be that way, but
Yeah.
I think it's better for the community overall, I guess.
Hmm.
But you know, at some point you would just have players like it would just be a solo queue. At that
Yeah.
point, it's just a solo queue.
I think an issue is, I mean, it depends on who plays. People have signed up, but like they're not guaranteed to play. I think there's Johnny Angry is like a real like having these two players versus having, I mean, no BM to like Haikai or something, but Johnny versus Haikai is not close. You know what I mean? And
No,
like
for sure. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Some
one
people,
team gets Johnny, the other team gets angry, and then it like it's really hard for some of these other teams. Like maybe you get like Preds, Deathwalker, Davy something.
I mean, how fun is it for those kinds of players as well? Like, I
Yeah,
mean, you can like argue being like weird that we're gonna say this, but like, I don't think Johnny wants to play with like randoms, you know, for a tournament. I don't. What's he
Yeah,
got in it for? You
yeah.
know, like he don't give a fuck.
Mhm.
It's like it's kind of weird. I think I think like going into the next week, maybe I think this tournament will stay the same format, but and I think it should because then you will see the flaws in it, and then to make it better for the next time, you know.
yeah. This is
But I
also
don't think it's perfect.
And check
Look
this
at
shit out,
calculating.
Ogie. On
Yeah.
his list of like player ratings and how high they're rated, I have a higher rating than you by
Well,
point
like,
one.
so you're 8.8 and I'm 8.7. Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
the total
I
for
think
me
I'm
is
8.7.
4.3, and the total for
Okay.
you is a 40 point, yeah, 40, and yours is 42.9. That's so big for me, actually.
You're so good, bro.
I'm just clean with it. Okay.
You're so good.
Shout out to
I
Barry.
don't care about that. Like,
Yeah.
the thing with Bear Beast ratings is like I can't read that guy's mind, man. Like he's such an enigma to me, man. You know what I mean? I say like, what's he actually fucking like thinking? I can't fucking understand him at all. So just let him be. I don't give a fuck about that. I'm just more thinking about like the the format in general
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I feel like it should go as it is right now, but you will see the flaws in it pretty soon. And
Yeah, I mean, I'm
and
not
if it's like
yeah.
too shit, if the format is too shit, then you may not have players playing next month,
Yeah,
which is very possible. But
yeah,
I
yeah.
guess we'll see, right?
Yeah,
I
I
mean, I
think
do want to give a shout out to Bike Barrow for doing this though. Like, I feel like it's pretty rare, like outside of like the leagues or whatever, that like a person tries to run like a tournament.
yeah,
Like, we haven't had that
big
I mean,
since
he's
shout
got
out,
a
like
big
community
shout
behind
out.
him, right? And I
yeah.
feel like Smite players in general, they just want to play, man. Like we're so bored of ranked,
We
right?
are so bored of ranked.
Like, we're so fucking bored of ranked.
We are so bored
The
of
the
ranked.
only the only thing that keeps us fucking together is fucking like the points, you know. Everybody loves that MMR, you know. Like that's the
Oh,
only
my
reason
little
people.
numbers. Yeah.
That's the only reason people play it over in houses, which is kind of weird to me. But like whatever, you know. Like people want to do this. You need to have something in return. So I guess it's gems, but like I guess it's cool. Yeah, I agree.
I'll-
It's
I
actually
mean, yeah,
cool.
I think it's really cool
I
that he's
think we
doing
were
it.
missing something last year. We had like a lot more tournaments. We had a lot more weeks of play
Hmm.
for SEC, for SOC. Obviously, it's just been cut by like 40%. I think, like not by half, but you know, like
Yeah.
barely, basically by half for everybody. And we didn't even have things like the like Hazer. I think Hazer hosted a tournament last year.
Yeah,
It
that
That
was
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 really
like
fun.
cool.
really fun and shit like that. We didn't have that this year, so yeah, I guess we need more. Like
We
no one's
also we
playing
also had
anything.
more team conks, and we also had that 5v5 game mode that came out. Like, we did have
Oh
more going
yeah.
on last
Oh
year.
bro, I love that
I
5v5
love
mode.
that shit,
I
man.
mean, it's obviously garbage. Like no one's playing it, but like three Qs a day. But like, man, there were some good fucking games. Let's just say
There were
that
some
much.
good fucking games. I beat Genetics with Cameron and Felly, and it wasn't
Right,
close.
right. Yeah.
Absolute banger. I mean, yeah, I mean, he's been a little dry, but we're still goated with the sauce.
I think
Fuck.
Aight, so we've got a few like things to go over, especially next week. There's a lot of events happening. But is there any last things we want to touch on before we finish the pod, boys?
just what Siegel said. Yeah, I think there should be like 8 captains for that matter thing, and
Yeah,
probably no more. Just
I
so
I
it's a
just feel
bit-
like that's the first thing that came to my mind. Is like that like a snake format draft, like by 16th pick, like you know who you're picking. Like
you're
it's not
picking
like
like
we have
Kami or some shit.
a 50,000 like insane players. You know, like the gap between players at some point just grows too big. You know,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
and I feel like
Miranda's version on it
let's
is a wild
let's
matchup.
like and let's just say like your side lanes are picking right, especially like soul lane. I De- Deathwalker, you would say he's like the best solo laner, right? Let's say the Deathwalker is the best solo laner, and Johnny is the best jungler. I don't think 90% of the time Johnny's team, whoever's on it, will win.
Yep.
Just
Yeah.
straight up, right? He will just win. So it's also like looking at it like that.
But
Yeah, for sure. I
And
mean,
Secret
it would,
Team,
yeah,
like
it would
those
seem
roles are
like
just
yeah.
way more impactful in that, like way more.
I mean, I totally agree. I mean, maybe like if like the weaker players on the Johnny team aren't too good, and like Davey gets like a really good like com like atmosphere
Yeah,
or something,
I guess.
maybe
Yeah.
it's possible. But um, you know, an army is only as strong as its slowest soldier. You know.
yeah, wise words from
That pretty
Briffa.
much wraps it up. No, any other last little shout outs, memes, BMs you want to throw out?
Um,
Hell no, man.
I think shout out to the cast. I think Ogie was running a few minutes late. I think he had a dentist appointment, but
He's a busy man.
shout out producer Royans. I think he's working on the TikToks and the YouTube shorts right now.
Check out socials. Royans will be on them.
Yeah. Shout out the very own Discord. I guess the community
Big ups there on Discord.
keeping us alive. Shout out Barrow for that tourney again once again, and
Agreed.
yeah, I think that's
Shout
everything.
out to Serbia, man. For real.
Yeah, big ups
Shout
Serbia.
out to the
Big ups
entire
Serbia.
country of
The
Serbia.
entire country of Serbia. Big ups.
Big up Serbia. All right, I guess that's it.
Huge.
I guess we'll see you in SMITE 2.
What the fuck?
See you guys later.